we found Jim Miller, former Bears quarterback who still does a ton of media with the Bears and, of course, with Sirius XM. You've been here all week, grinding through. You probably talked to a ton of these guys.
Yeah, we started, obviously, we got here. I came in Monday night, and obviously the interviews started early Tuesday. So, yeah, from the defensive line, the edge rushers, linebackers, safeties, corners, you name it, we've talked to them all.
How are you feeling about what seems to be the movement here? Justin going elsewhere and Caleb or whoever coming in?
I've been pretty steadfast on what the Bears need to do, and they can do both. They can keep Justin, and they can still draft a guy. And everybody's like, I know it's like a civil war in Chicago. It's like you can't do that, but it's already been done. All right, it's already been done in the NFL. The L.A. Chargers had Drew Brees. They drafted Eli Manning, but yet swapped Phillip Rivers and still had Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers sat for 2 years, believe it or not. Drew Brees played so well, he got the franchise tag by the Chargers. Then he hurt his shoulder, and then they moved on to Phillip Rivers. So the Bears can do both. I think we all recognize that Justin Fields is a very talented player, very talented. He's got some more polish to do, and he's played better, and things will get better, but he needs more polish. He needs to play. I wouldn't put the fifth-year option on him. I'd let him play. I hope he plays so well he earns the franchise tag like Drew Brees. But yet you still have another guy waiting in the wings that you're developing that should not be forced on the field right away, like what Mitch Trubisky was, like what Justin Field was, and just let the guy marinate a little bit so they can do both.
Well, Drake, that's what Drake May said at the podium here this morning. Drake was saying that there is an advantage to sitting. So I even think some of these guys
it's always owner driven. I mean, last year Carolina drafted Bryce Young. It was owner driven, and they started him right away. It did not go well.
No.
Right? Last year in Indianapolis, it was owner driven. Jim Irsay said that basically Anthony Richardson was going to play right away. Well, he's hurt. All right. That actually was a good thing for him that he got to sit. Granted, he separated his shoulder. He had to get surgery. It's a good thing that Anthony Richardson did not have to go through that last year. And he probably learned a lot more sitting in the backdrop, watching Gardner Minshew win games for the Colts more than what he would have won as a first-round quarterback taken.
So you know that, obviously, you know the Bears fandom and what it's like, the current climate. You also know what it's like to be in those locker rooms as a quarterback. I mean, I just find it hard to believe there's not going to be this big movement and this push from, fans throughout the year, regardless of what's happening. Everyone's going to want to see the new guy eventually. How do you think that dynamic would work? Especially, we know how much Justin's teammates love him at the same time. You're shaking your head. Does this just not matter?
Yeah, who cares? They're both the Bears' property.
Yeah.
So what? Justin Fields, you're the property of the Bears. Guess what? You're the starter. Go out and play well. Prove it. You still have whoever you draft, whether it's Caleb Williams, whether it's Drake May, whether it's whoever. You're here. Your job is to sit and learn. Do your job. Do your job and play. Do your job and learn. It's that simple.
So you don't worry about the locker room itself.
No. Not at all.
You are here to perform.
Wasn't a problem for the Chargers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't a problem for Troy Aikman when they drafted Steve Walsh first round supplemental draft, and they had just drafted Troy Aikman. Was it a problem? No, the guy won world championships. It won't be a problem in Chicago.
Well, and even with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers, Aaron was a little upset that they didn't get a wide receiver, but at the end of the day, Aaron played well as a quarterback, and then when Jordan stepped in last year, he played well as a quarterback.
If you communicate it, Ryan Poles, who is the current GM of the Bears, they did this in Kansas City. They had Alex Smith. They traded up from 28 to 10 to draft Patrick Mahomes. Was it a problem there? No. Alex, you're our starter. You're here to learn. Alex, we're going to treat you right. If we do trade you, which they did that work out so bad?
No.
Ryan Poles has already lived this. All right, so all of Chicago needs to just calm down.
Well, we cannot calm down.
Well, but to Jim's point, though, I do think we complicate things. These guys want to make as much money as they possibly can. They want to be a great teammate. Maybe they have a preference, but it's not like they're going to sabotage their career because they don't get the quarterback they want playing.
Yeah, Justin Fields, if he remains, everybody, I know it's one or the other. You got to either trade Justin, draft a guy, it won't work, or you trade down, get all those picks to help Justin. They can do both. and it can work, and it will be just fine. Everybody just needs to do their job, be a pro. Whether they draft a guy, Justin's going to be a pro because his NFL livelihood is on the line. He's got to go out and play well.
Right.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
He knows that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's say they do this. Of these quarterbacks that you've been paying attention to, obviously talking to some, and you're going to watch them throw tomorrow here in Indy, or at least the ones who are throwing.
Yeah.
Who stands out to you as the best fit then to come in and sit with Justin Fields?
Yeah, all those guys have talent. I think we know that. Caleb obviously is very talented, both running and throwing the ball. Drake May has his strong traits. He's got a strong arm. He's pretty athletic for a bigger guy. I've heard some compare him to Josh Allen. I'm not going there. He's not that athletic. But I think a guy who's gaining a lot of steam is Jaden Daniels from LSU. A lot of people look at him like a Lamar Jackson because everybody's, and you guys brought it up to me when I sat at this table. Oh, look at his frame. He's bigger than Bryce Young. All right.
Yeah.
Why people compare him to Lamar Jackson is when Lamar came out of Louisville, he was wiry thin. Lamar Jackson today is 215 pounds. All right. He's a big strapping dude who still has his athleticism, can move. Granted, he's tweaked a couple ankles, but he's more durable now than what he was when he first came out of college, and he's still growing in the game. And this is a 2-time NFL MVP, by the way. So that's how people see Daniels. So a lot of people are high on him, and there probably will be 5 quarterbacks that go in the first round. Obviously, Penix and J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan is gaining a lot of steam, and he's probably going to be in the top 20. So 5 are going in the first round.
And just to confirm, I've heard that from a couple people today that Daniels is shooting up. You're saying it, so it's interesting. Yes, go ahead, Greg.
No, I'm sorry. I was
no. Well, I was just going to throw in you've got guys who are playing one way, and then you have dudes who the Lamar style and or in the pocket. In Jim Miller's perfect world, do you want somebody who plays in the pocket, or does it not matter to you at this point?
No, I think we understand. I think your court in today's NFL, it's not like when I played, that was more of a drop back game and all those type of things. But if your quarterback can get you 3 to 5 first downs with his legs, I think it's a big part of today's game. But can he do it and survive injury? That's, look at Lamar. Look at how the Baltimore Ravens seasons, once Tyler Huntley went in, I mean, it was awful. It goes off the rails. Or say when other quarterbacks go down to injury, it's a big part of the, why your team doesn't do well. So you better have a backup in place. Last 2 years, there have been over 60 starters at quarterback, which is unprecedented, and probably why who is it? Troy Vincent from the league office is now they want to, adopt a new rule for grounding because they want to protect quarterbacks more because they are more prone to injury now with how much they're running the ball. But you got to be able to coach a guy up. You got to be able to protect him to know. I call it got to have it plays. If you're in the first quarter and it's 3rd and 5, am I going to give up my body to get a first down? No. But if it's the 4th quarter, that's a got to have it play when you're on the last drive of a game where you do got to give up your body. I think we understand that guys like Andrew Luck, who's retired from league, who's 6'5", 250, or Cam Newton, who's 6'5", 250, big strapping quarterbacks, those guys got blown out of the league because they got too beat up. So you got to be smart about how you approach it because some of these guys aren't built that way, that they can take that type of punishment.
Biggest hit that you ever took, was from
Hugh Douglas.
Yeah.
Took me 6 surgeries to get my shoulder right after
Wow.
that.
Wow.
See, you hung in there though.
Yeah. I'd like to think I'm a big strapping guy. These guys got bad intentions on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, they don't care how big you are, how strong you are. Like I said, Cam Newton and Andrew Luck, who are a lot more bigger and athletic than I was, and they got beat up and basically trashed out of the league.
Let me ask you one Justin question, because I was just talking with a prominent dude today. I'll keep the name out of it. He just doesn't throw with anticipation. This is, obviously somebody. Can you learn that at this stage, 3 years in?
Yeah, you can. I think. See, I've said here. I love Justin. He's tough. His teammates love him. He's got all the tools in the world. It's up to him how good he wants to be. And it bothers me, like last year when he says, I just want to play free. That's fine and that's great. You play free when you know your game plan. You play free when you know your offense. The game should be easy on Sunday if you're doing the preparation that you need during the week to know your opponent inside and out, and that's when you play the game free. You know, it bothers me, and I brought up 2 games specifically. The Minnesota game last year, when you get sacked in an empty formation on 1st and 10, first play of the game, when you've got your script and you've got 5 blockers and they bring 6 and you get sacked. Okay, it bothers me. It bothers me the Denver game when he played probably the most perfect half a quarterback could play. He's 16 to 17. His one incompletion is a throwaway. And then you come out the second half and you get a fumble, scoop, and score by Jonathan Cooper, all because you don't know that you're responsible for the Sam backer. You need to know those things. And if you're prepared, those things won't happen. So he's got to be better from that standpoint. And he can. He's capable of doing it. That's up to him. It's all up to him. He's as talented as they come. But if you're prepared, then he can play free.
You mentioned earlier Caleb Williams' talent.
Mhm.
It's interesting being down here in Indy because while I still feel like that's the most likely outcome of all this for the Bears, it is kind of interesting trying to sort through some of this noise and some of the chatter with Caleb Williams. Is there anything that concerns you?
Yeah, he's not even doing the medical. How the Bears going to select him number 1 overall? The guy won't even take a physical. Your body is your resume.
Well, he did say he will do it for when he comes in at House Hall, meet with teams. But that is to your point, that is a different move. We'll put it that way, because these guys are supposed to come here and basically take 32 physicals.
Yeah. How are the Bears going to draft a guy they won't even give him a physical? And that goes for 31 other teams. Yeah. It's probably turned off the Bears, and it's turned off 31 other teams. It's a bad move by Caleb Williams. That's just my opinion, but it's a bad move.
Interesting. So I guess just sticking to his on the field play, we've seen Jaden Daniels start to rise up as far as getting a little bit of heat and attention, maybe as a number 1 pick. JJ McCarthy, has picked up steam. With Caleb Williams being in the spotlight the last few years, is there an aspect of prospect fatigue where he's been doing it for so long now we're looking for other things? Or is it that, now that we're really starting to look through the tape, that there's flaws we didn't see outside of the highlight reel?
Yeah, they all have flaws. I mean, and that's what the interview process is for. I mean, there's going to be things that he has to answer to, like, why aren't you giving a physical? And why did it go so bad versus Notre Dame? And all those type of things. He's got to answer to those things. There's going to be, poor plays, and none of these guys are finished products. I think we all understand that. But it's the responses that you get to know the person, and if you want to be willing to work with this person, and is he a good teammate, and all the things that it means to be a Chicago Bear or any other team that he were to play with. You're trying to get to know a person when you're inviting them into that building that you can work with and is going to represent your organization the way you want it to be represented. And every team has their thresholds. There's always risk and reward. And, that's what this weeding out process is. Everybody knows he can play. Everybody knows he's talented. But does he fit within your organization?
If Caleb called you up, Jim, and said, hey, look, I'm looking at the Bears resume. When you played, you won a lot of games there in your time as a Bears quarterback. But if I really got to go back to the 40s and Sid Luckman to find somebody why hasn't it worked for quarterbacks in Chicago? What would you tell them?
Well, I mean, there are tougher markets to play in. New York. See, everybody thinks New York is the biggest market. It's not. Chicago's actually the biggest market. All right. And both those teams, whether you look at the Jets or the Giants, they have rich history. They have tradition. The Bears have rich history. They have tradition. The Bears just had 3 more players elected in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They have the most of any team in the National Football League. And so you've got to respect that. All right. And there is an expectation when it's generational fans like that, and you have to respect that history as a player. So think about when the Giants drafted Eli Manning. You have to have a certain mental makeup to be able to handle that pressure and that criticism. I knew when I went to Chicago and I got drafted, obviously, by Pittsburgh, who also had a rich history and tradition. I knew the expectation, but I, knew the work ethic. the fan base, what their expectation was. And for me, I knew when I arrived in Chicago, this is where I need to be. I know I'm going to do very well here. And you have to be ready for that mental toughness that you need, where you go into on Cook Road, you go into any mall and you see that Bears hat, or you're driving in traffic and you see that Bears sticker. It's in your face every day. And you better understand that, of what's expected of you. And some guys just aren't ready for that.
Jim, we appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
It's great
Yeah, man.
stuff.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
brother.
Love
Good
all
to
your
see you, Jim.
work.
Yep.
We'll be listening to you on Sirius XM.
1-7, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for having
There
me.
he is,
Appreciate it.
Jim Miller.
We all silly like the mayor.